Yo, what is up, everyone? Um, I haven't been on in so long. It's kind of going to be like a reboot of the channel, but we're going to be coming back and giving you and ranking the NFC West teams. So stay tuned for that. Wow, it has been a while since I have been on, so I am pumped. But stay tuned. I got this new intro that I made last night. Stay tuned, everyone, and we will be back for some NFL content. And it's been a while, about 2 months. So stay tuned. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Camper Report. First one in like 2 months. I think we made like a short like a few days ago. But man, it's been a while and I've been busy the last few weeks. Track just ended. A ton of sports, track, and then I obviously am 15 now. I got a job. So we'll be coming out with we'll be having more content during the summer, a lot more, but I'm just excited to be back. And sorry that I haven't been on in a while, but it's been a very busy time. It definitely sucks that I didn't like cover the NFL draft because that would have been a great thing as well. Let's look into the comments. Carcast is here. Long time no see. Yeah, it has been quite a while. So yeah, I came here to rate the NFC West teams, and I think this is an interesting thing because the 49ers hard schedule, and I've come to the I've come to the point where the 49ers, yes, they have a hard schedule, but so does every other team in the NFC West also have a hard schedule. The Rams have one of the hardest schedules in the league. The Cardinals have one of the hardest schedules in the league. So it's not all bad for the 49ers. And if everything can click, this team can be a very good team. So let's rank the NFC West teams. I've got a banner right here for it, ranking the NFC West. So let's break down all of these teams first. We got the Rams. They're a team that's interesting. They got, I think, stronger on the offensive side of the ball. They're going to get Cam Akers back. They're going to get they got Allen Robinson. And my thing with Allen Robinson is, if Allen Robinson can have a good quarterback, if he has a good quarterback throwing him the ball, he is going to be elite no matter what. We've seen it. Now, he might be a little bit past his prime, but I think so was Robert Woods. And the Rams, I think, were missing that elite big receiver that can catch passes over the middle and just can take hits and is a good downfield like jump ball type of player like Allen Robinson is. They were missing that because Robert Woods was more of a slot guy that would catch stuff in the flat. Cooper Kupp's definitely a deep guy, but he's not like a jump ball. He's less of a red zone player, if you know what I'm meaning. So the 49ers the Rams were missing a guy like that, and they got Allen Robinson. Now, they did lose Andrew Whitworth, but they got his name is, I think, Joseph Noteboom to a 3-year, $40 million deal or whatever. And he's supposed to be pretty good. So their offensive line still is a question, but arguably you could say this offense got better. It's going to be explosive. It's going to be really good because Matthew Stafford now and Allen Robinson could break out. You've got Cooper Kupp. The one thing with the Rams, though, is their defense definitely got a little bit worse. Now, Bobby Wagner will help the run game, but as far as in the trenches, defensive tackles, they actually got worse because they lost Sebastian Joseph Day, who is a very good defensive tackle, and they also lost some pass rush in Von Miller. So they, as far as run game, run stopping, yes, they're actually got pretty good with Bobby Wagner, and that's a big move right there. They got a steal there. But as far as in the trenches, defensive tackle wise, they actually got worse in that regard. And so my thing is, they came into this offseason, the 49ers, this should be an encouragement to every 49ers fan. I think every 49ers fan should be encouraged because the Rams didn't go into this offseason trying to strengthen their defensive line. They actually got arguably worse with their defensive line. So if you're a 49ers fan, that is a great news for you because they got worse in the trenches. And what have the Rams always had trouble doing with the 49ers? They've always had trouble stopping the 49ers run game. It's not going to be any better. It's not going to be any better. So that is the biggest encouragement to me because now they're going to have even more trouble stopping the run game, and that could lead to 1 or 2 wins with the 49ers and the Rams. So that's encouraging to me because now it doesn't like the Rams didn't try to get better in the trenches. And because of that, the 49ers can continue to run the ball and can continue to get better. Now, again, the Rams also lost. They also lost a very Darius Williams. I don't know if you remember him, but he was a very good cornerback as well. Played solid minutes. That's a big loss as well. But they did get a cornerback in round 4, Jacoby Durant in round 4, and he should fill in there. So. And they got a guard in round 3 as well, Logan Bruss, I think it's from Wisconsin. So this team actually probably got better offensively just because they're getting that running back. But defensively, you could definitely argue that they got worse. Von Miller was a huge part of that Super Bowl run. And then, yeah, obviously they lost Andrew Whitworth, and a guy that is underrated that they lost. And this guy, he's very underrated. This could be an underrated loss because, again, a lot of things starts with special teams, especially the pinning people back deep or whatever. Johnny Hecker, you guys obviously remember this. They cut him. So that could be a sleeper loss. Like that could be one of those sleeper losses that actually could really come back to hurt them as well. So maybe got worse defensively, got better offensively, but the 49ers, honestly, I think there's some question marks there, but matching up with the 49ers, I think the 49ers could match up with the Rams better now because they could run the ball more and everything else like that. So that's the Rams. I still have them at number 1 right now because their offense is still going to be very explosive. But are they going to go back-to-back Super Bowls? I don't think so. I think it's really hard to do that. And they definitely, as you can see with the 49ers, like the year after they won the Super Bowl, we brought a lot of guys back, but we lost that one key player, that one key guy in DeForest Buckner and injuries and everything. So it's really hard to repeat. And I think it's going to be the same with the Rams. It's going to be hard for them to repeat because they could have injuries. Anything could happen. And Von Miller was a huge loss. So I still have them at number 1, but it's going to be close. The second team that we need to break down is the 49ers. And obviously you guys know, all 49ers fans, whatever. I think there's a lot of question marks on this team, and there's a lot of question marks. But the thing is if everything can work out, the nickelback corner position, the strong safety position, if everything works out, this team could be very good. Now, if the biggest question mark, I think is the offensive line, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Alex Mack. And that's the thing, like the 49ers have no plan at center, which kind of makes me feel like, oh, maybe the 49ers are maybe they know that Alex Mack is coming back. If he doesn't come back, that's a major question mark. He really needs to come back for this team to flourish. And again, it's funny because last year the 49ers weren't relying on their rookies. This year now, they're going to have to rely on all their rookies this year, from last year and from the second year players and this year players. So it's interesting how they're going to have to really rely on those elements to bring them forward. That the offensive line is going to have to do good. Now, I have faith in it. And if they have faith in them, then I have faith. If they have faith in their players, then I have faith in their players. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens. Another big question mark, and this is another one that, hey, this could be huge. The turnover of the coaching staff. Now, from what I've heard, it's really good. Still, I mean, it's the coaching staff was for the better. They fired all of them for the better because Brian Greasy obviously was a better coach, is going to be a better coach to Trey Lance than whatever that whoever we had before. Honestly, I don't even Rich Cangarello. So he's going to be better. So, but the turnover of coaching staff could be key. Now, you have DeMeco Ryans 1 year under his belt. That could be huge. I mean, DeMeco Ryans, again, first year coaches. I don't think a lot of people understand how much that hurts when you're a first year coach. You're still learning. You're still learning the ins and outs. So DeMeco Ryans' second year, I think that could be huge as well because he's learned more. He's got a full season under his belt. So that could be huge as well. And then obviously we got a better cornerback. But we did lose a lot of people. So there are question marks. I think our receiving core is, man, it's going to be deep, between Danny Gray, Ray McLeod, Deebo Samuel, who I think is coming back, Brandon Ayuk, everything else. It's going to be very deep. So I'm not really worried about that. And their offense, like if you look at it at first glance and you're saying, okay, Trey Lance is going to work out. Let's just say Trey Lance works out. That's a very good offense. That's because you've got Elijah Mitchell, and who knows with the Ty Davis Price guy, but you've got Elijah Mitchell, Ty Davis Price, and then you've got a very deep receiver room. So yes, it's going to work out. The only question mark is the offensive line. And the thing is I think, it's a risky risk to take, but if it does work out, then your team is looking at it almost another Super Bowl. And so Trey Lance obviously is going to have to pan out, and that's a big question mark as well. But the thing I'm looking at is really defensive tackles. They got Kalia Davis in the 6th round from UCF, but that DJ Jones, and I have faith in Chris Kasurek because he's shown time and time again that he can really, train guys up to be very good defensive linemen. So I think they basically said with the defensive line, with the defensive tackle part, they basically said, Chris Kasurek, we got you Hassan Ridgeway. We've got you 1 draft pick. Go and do whatever you want to do with them. Like, we've got you these guys, then go make them stars. And I have trust in them because he's made Arden Key. He's made guys like that stars. So I have trust in them. I have trust in him to do that. So if Mack was going to retire, we would have to, we would have heard something already. Yeah, that's a good point. I think he makes a very good point there. I just think that the 49ers relaxing about this whole situation tells me something about that. Tells me that they want him that they know that he's going to come back. I'm not really sure. If he doesn't come back, we're screwed. But the thing is every sign so far has showed that he's going to come back. Mike McGlinchey contract year, he needs to step up big. I don't even want Mike McGlinchey to start. I think we would actually be better off. Like, who at this point is better? What's his name? 60. Oh man, the guy that started in place of Mike McGlinchey. What's his name? His name is, oh man, he was playing left tackle for the 49ers in OTAs in place of Trent Williams, his name, and we've had him for a few years, and he started in place of Mike McGlinchey a few years ago. At that point, I would want him to start in front of Mike McGlinchey, just because man. Dillian Hightower had to go. Oh, who's Hightower? Shit, I don't know. The coach. Yep. The special teams coach. Tom Compton. No, it was the other guy that was injured last year. He was injured for the whole year, got injured in training camp. Anyways, moving on. So the Cardinals is another team. This is a team that's very intriguing, and this is a team that, so I think the 49ers are going to get second, but my third team, the Cardinals, they have more question marks than the 49ers do because they lost Christian Kirk. But I can name you guys out how many people they lost, and it's really incredible. They lost Chase Edmonds. They lost Jordan Hicks, which is a huge loss. That guy was really good, and that's their defense. They lost Chandler Jones, Jordan Hicks. Those two guys are main pieces to that defense, and that's why I'm like, wow, like their defense is definitely going to take a step down. And that's why, like, I don't know if they're going to be as good on the defense, and that's going to be key because their pass rush is going to take a step down. You're going to have Golden now going to be taking double teams, Marquise Golden, because there's not going to be as many pass rushers on that team. So you're going from a very good pass rush to, I don't think any is JJ Watt coming back? I'm not sure. And then no JJ Watt, no Chandler Jones. So you're going from a very good pass rush to probably a mediocre pass rush as well, and losing one of your best linebackers. So, and they lost Chase Edmonds, which I don't think many people this is an overlooked move, because except from this year, James Conner stayed healthy most of the year, but except from this year, they're really, by getting rid of Chase Edmonds, they're making James Conner the number one workhorse running back. But what you guys don't remember, or you probably remember this, is except from this year, the Cardinals, Chase Edmonds had been a very injury-prone player on the Steelers, except from this year. So what the thing is Chase Edmonds was a guy that could take the load off of James Conner. Now there's no more Chase Edmonds. Now you're looking at James Conner to be the main back. And the thing that I don't really like about that is he could potentially now get injured a lot more. And the thing is he used to, if you guys remember this, I'm not sure if you do, but he got injured a lot. So now with that load put on him, except from this year, he was a very injury-prone player. So I'm not really sure if that's going to work out, and we'll see if that pans out, but I don't think it will. So that's going to be really, really hard to, injury-prone players, if he gets injured, they're screwed because they really don't have another running back. And that's not even saying, that's not counting. Okay, yes, they replaced Christian Kirk with Marquise Brown or Hollywood Brown, but their offensive line is still going to be pretty bad. It always has been. Kyler Murray, it depends how long Kyler Murray can stay healthy. So they might start off fast, but they're gonna eventually, I think, flame out because their offense took a step down, I would say, with that Chase Edmonds loss. And then Christian Kirk was a bigger loss than we think. Now, Hollywood Brown. So maybe the offense, let's just say the offense stays the same, right? Now you're looking, but the defense didn't stay the same. They lost quite a few players on the defensive line. So this team definitely took a step down, and that could be bad for them as well. They have a harder schedule than the 49ers, and that's going to be tough as well. So, the 49ers, I think the Cardinals, maybe I could see them being an 8-win team, but I don't think anymore. They might start off fast, but again, it depends on the availability of Kyler Murray. I don't know what's going to happen with him as well. So the defense definitely took a step down, and it's going to be, I don't know. This team maybe had one good run. They went all in for it last year, and it didn't really work out. And then they lost Chase Edmonds, which is a huge loss because James Conner is a injury-prone type player. So, this team could be okay. Let's look who they drafted. They got let's see here. Trey McBride, that's a good center. A good tight end to pair with. In the second round, they got Trey McBride, good tight end to pair with Zach Ertz. That could be a sneaky scary. So I think this the offense got about the same. Cameron Thomas, good linebacker as well. They got in the draft as well. So I don't know. They'll probably stay the same, I think, in the offensive range, but defensive, I think they're taking a step down. And it all depends on the availability of Kyler Murray. So moving on to the Seahawks. I think this team is a good team overall. They've got DK Metcalf. They've got what's his name? They've got man, what the heck? DK Metcalf, they drafted a really good running back in the Michigan State dude. His name is Kenneth Walker. They got Charles Cross. They fixed, like, it's funny because as soon as they get rid of Russell Wilson, they fix the offensive line. Charles Cross. Now they had to get rid of Russell Wilson to get that first round pick. So yes, you can make the argument for that. But as soon as they get rid of Russell Westbrook, they strengthen the offense. I mean, they get Kenneth Walker. They've got 2 running backs. They've got Rashad Penny, and everything else like that, and Chris Carson. But those 2 guys are very injury prone. So they got a good guy in Kenneth Walker. They got Charles Cross. Their offense really got better. They got obviously the receivers, DK Metcalf, and then the other. Why can't I remember his name right now? Tyler Lockett. There we go. Tyler Lockett. So those 2 guys. So their offense arguably is it's good. It's really good. But the question mark to me is their quarterback position. And this is a question mark. I think what they're going to try, if they have an 8-win season, I think I'm calling put Pete Carroll in the Hall of Fame right now. Because if they have an 8-win season, Pete Carroll is going to be praised and praised and praised because they have a bad quarterback. But what this reminds me of is what the Denver Broncos have been trying to do the last few years. Get a bad quarterback and surround him with really with good players. That's what it reminds me of. Get a bad quarterback and surround him with good players. That's what the Broncos tried to do with Tyler Lockett, not Tyler Lockett, with Drew Lock. It's what they tried to do with Teddy Bridgewater. And my thing is, a good quarterback will elevate everyone, but a bad quarterback will just make everyone worse. So that experiment didn't work with the Broncos, and I don't think it's going to work with the Seahawks. But worst case scenario, the Seahawks tank. They get the 2nd pick, and they can get one of the many bad quarterbacks, good quarterbacks in this year's draft. They can get Brian Young from Alabama. They can get one of the many good quarterbacks in this next draft. So worst case scenario, they do their pretty bad team, but they get a high draft pick, 2nd, 3rd pick, 1st pick, and they get a good quarterback, and then they start from there. Best case scenario, they're an 8-win team. I see them being as an 8-win team because their team is really good. Their offense is sneaky good. Now, their defense still is pretty bad, so I think they're going to be less than an 8-win team, but best case scenario, they're an 8-win team, and all they are away is 1 quarterback away from being a very good team. So, the loss to Russell Wilson hurt. I think they're probably going to be they're probably going to be a 5-6 win team, maybe around the 5 to 10 pick range. But next year they can get one of the many good quarterbacks that is in the draft, and that's the bright spot. They also got a good cornerback in the draft, Kobe Bryant. They got another offensive tackle, Abraham Lucas. So they fixed their offensive line. They definitely bolstered their offense, but the quarterback position is the only thing that will hurt them. But who knows? I mean, they're a tanking team. They basically said for 1 year we're going to be bad, and then we're going to go get a good quarterback. Now, the intriguing thing was, why didn't they try to make a run at Baker Mayfield? Or, why aren't they still trying to make a run at Baker Mayfield? Like, I don't know. It's really interesting what they're trying to do, and it's confusing. But if Pete Carroll has a good coach, if they have an 8-win season, yes, Pete Carroll is going to be praised. So yeah, so my rankings: Rams number 1. I just broke it all down. Rams number 1, 49ers number 2, Cardinals number 3, and Seahawks number 4. Now, the Seahawks, I think I'm putting them at number 4, but they could move up. I could strongly see them being better than the Cardinals this year. This isn't biased because I hate both the Cardinals and the Seahawks, but I could strongly see the Seahawks being better than the Cardinals, just because I think the Seahawks almost have a better offense than the Cardinals do. So I could see the Seahawks being better than the Cardinals. So they could be 3rd. Now, I don't think the NFC West is going to be as good as it was last year. I think really 2 teams are going to make the playoffs. I think it's going to be the Rams and the 49ers. Now, 49ers, if they fall and if none of those questions work out, the nickelback question, like who's going to start at nickel, if none of those things work out, then they could be a 6-win team. But I think it is going to work out because what the 49ers have done with the offensive line position and the cornerback position and the corner, like the nickelback corner position, is they basically gotten a bunch of different guys, and they've gotten a bunch of like 10, 11 people to compete. They've drafted a bunch of offensive linemen. They got a bunch of nickel corners and a bunch of cornerbacks. And they basically said, okay, go compete for the job. And iron sharpens iron, and whoever is going to be better will start at that position. So I think their approach is a little risky, but it's the approach of, we're going to throw a bunch of players at it. We're going to have tons of players, and we're going to see who outbeats them all. So I think it's a pretty good approach. You know, you you have a bunch of depth, you have a bunch of players that you've drafted, and you just say, hey, go compete, and we'll see who wins, you know? So their approach is a little risky, but I think it's a good approach. So yeah, Rams number 1, 49ers number 2. I could see the 49ers going 9-8, 10-7. Again, the NFC is not that strong. And then I think the Cardinals missed the playoffs this year, is in my opinion. So let's move on to our last topic. We spent quite a bit on this topic, guys. I'm sorry, I had a lot to say on that. Who will be the breakout player for the 49ers this year? And I went on Grant Cohn's show just a second ago, the Cohn Phone. I think it's going to be Drake Jackson. Now, everyone will say Jawan Jennings. And hey, offensively, I think he is going to be a breakout player. But who is going to be a breakout player? And I think a sleeper that a lot of people are sleeping on is Drake Jackson. Think about Nick Bosa in his first year when he had 9 sacks. He was getting a lot of single teams from DeForest Buckner, D Ford, and Eric Armstead. So they were all taking all the load, and he was getting the single teams. That opened up a big hole. He got 9 sacks on that team. So I think it's going to be a similar effect to Drake Jackson, because I think, you know, you're going to have Nick Bosa taking the double teams. You're going to have Eric Armstead taking the load inside. And then that leaves Drake Jackson. Now, Samson Ebukam will probably start over him at the beginning, but I don't think for long. I don't think Samson Ebukam is nearly as good. So he's going to have that D Ford role right away. And the key thing is he's going to be getting all the single teams. So I think that's a sleeper breakout that you can't sleep on, because he might have 7-8 sacks. It might be the Nick Bosa approach. And that's why I'm so excited. This defensive line is going to be so good. So I'm excited. I'm really excited, because the 49ers might just have 11, 12 sack Nick Bosa, an 8 sack Drake Jackson. They're going to have a scary defensive line. And then for their backup, they have Kerry Hyder, who was good for the 49ers as well. So Drake Jackson's a sleeper one. Don't sleep on him, because he's going to be getting a lot of one-on-one matchups on the outside. And now with a bolstered, like, this cornerback group, you know, everyone's talking about the nickelbacks, and everyone's saying, like, who's going to start at nickelback? Well, you have Jason Verrett, if he stays healthy, could start at nickel. You have Ambry Thomas. You have Lenore. You have Womack. So that you have a bunch of competition at that spot. A bunch of competition. And then outside, you have Charvarius Ward and Emmanuel Mosley, who are 2 really good corners. And then safety position, you have Jimmy Ward, good safety, and I think it looks like Talanoa Hufanga. So that could be good as well. So this defense, I think, is going to be really good. They just have to figure it out a little bit inside in the trenches. But other than that, their pass rush is going to be insane. This team, if it works out, it could be a scary team for sure. For sure. So anyways, guys, that's the show. I ranked the NFC. I said who was going to be the breakout player. Drake Jackson. Do not sleep on him, everybody. Do not sleep on him. So we'll see you guys later on this week. I'm thinking around Wednesday or maybe even tomorrow. Later on this week, I'm going to have a guest, first time in 2 months. So we'll have a guest on later on this week. That will be fun as well. But thank you for letting me talk to you guys for 30 minutes. This was a lot of fun. Coming back for the first time in 2 months, making a strong comeback. So we'll see you guys later. I hope you guys have a good rest of your Labor Day weekend, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.